Tales from the shit. You ever have a hot gun on your waist and blood on your shoes 'cause of... Oh, hi there, tripod. You here to film the story? Oh, that's good. How's the kids? You know, I forgot I'm the only one that can hear you, so this will probably seem a little weird. Come on, tripod, let's get to it. This is a little something I call the Fraternal Order of Pipe Layers. Alright. The Fraternal Order of Pipe Layers. I've always lived as a union man, and I'll die a union man. I love my country too, a place where all men are equal. I do my best to see to it that our ideals are met, especially when it comes to my crew. The crew came around when I used to be a plumber. We got work out of Local 85. I loved my guys, still do. We did good work and were always fair and never, ever fucked anybody. Which is pretty funny when you consider what we're doing now. So, all this started during the outbreak. Remember that? We landed some state work down at the old Capitol and milked that contract dry. With no jobs on the horizon, we stretched our work as far as we could. I didn't view that as cheat in mind, because it was either that or unemployment, which came from the state anyway. We were down to a day or two of pipe work in the third floor men's, and that's where I was, behind a throne. I was working on fitting something when Tyrone walked in. He was white as a ghost, and I mean that. He just kind of stood there, so I knew something had to be bothering him. My guys view me as a dad, sorta, when it comes to problems. So I quit what I was a-doing, stood up and said, "Well?" Tyrone shook his head and goes, "You're never going to believe this, but the governor asked me to sleep with his wife. Offered me money, too. A lot more than I'm making on this job." Everyone out there suffering, and the governor wanted to hire one of my guys to bang out his wife. Still, it sounded lucrative, and things were tight. So I asked, "Well, what did you tell him?" Tyrone gave me this bashful smile and said, "What do you think I am, stupid?" I told him yes. Now, being the traveled sort, I'd heard of this kind of thing. Cuckoldry, it's called. So I told Tyrone, should have told him to double it. He waved me off and said, "Shit, with what he's offering, no need." That's when I had an idea, one of them big ones, that I knew could set us up for life. I said, "Hey, why don't you go home early then? Get rested up." I never once sent him home early before, so Tyrone asked, "You serious?" I told him, "Yeah, we'll need you in tip-top shape. Not to be crude or anything, but make sure you really feed her the plow. If you want a few pointers, you got my number." I move away from the mic to breathe. Chocolate rain! He frowned and said, "Easy, man. I know how to throw this thing around." I reassured him and said, "I'm sure you do. Just give her the full effort." I guess I'd made him suspicious for good reason, so he asked, "What's it to you?" I smiled and told him, "I think I know how to get us out of this mess." He understood almost immediately and said, "You're not." I didn't want to give him time to think, so I told him, "I am. Think of how many of those cuckolds have got to be scurrying around here, Tyrone. This is the capital. There's bound to be 10, 20 at least. I know you're pussy crazy anyway, so it's not like it'll hurt you. We could make this a regular thing. Make a fortune. Not to mention, once this job is over, we're out of work. Might make some sense to plan for the future." Tyrone grinned and said, "We? You looking to be my pimp?" I shook my head. "Pimp? No way. I'll be your foreman." He seemed unsure and goes, "Foreman? Shit." In my best dad voice, I said, "It'll be all right. You'll see." Instead of instantly winning him over like I'd hoped, he seemed unsure. I don't know about being no hoe. I decided to clarify and explained, "You'd never be a hoe, Tyrone. You'd be a union escort." He laughed and asked, "Union?" I told him, "Of course. Been a union man all my life. I'll treat this job no different. Same perks, same benefits, I'll manage everything, same as now, and every man will be treated fairly." He shrugged, shook his head, and said, "Oh, well, that's different. But what do you mean, every man?" I knew if this was going to work with regimented schedules and all, I'd need a crew. Not only that, but we'd have to plunge any hole that wanted it. But I had a plan in place to tackle that. I said, "Well, don't you know some of them nice boys down at the YMCA?" Tyrone turned serious as he thought it over and said, "Yeah, my cousin does their makeup." And just like that, we had diversified in all directions. Anyway, that's how we got started. Tyrone recruited the rest of the crew and we started the Fraternal Order of Pipe Layers. We're union owned and operated, and all our pipe men have full health and dental. As our clientele expanded, we called a vote and unanimously opted out of optical. Did that to save on our mental. Some of the guys were getting nightmares. Those politicians' wives, the ones you never see on TV, are in rough shape. I think it's all the neglect and alcoholism. But my guys are hard working. I've never had to put a hand on them, never had a reason to. They love their jobs. Now, we've suffered a few displaced hips and hernias, some light chafing, but nothing major. We've steered clear of most medical problems, and even donate 15% to the YMCA. But the best part of all, for me and the guys, is instead of the government fucking us, we're out day and night, fucking them. I don't know anybody else that's had that opportunity. It's what you call a workplace perk. I think the guys view it as a sort of patriotic duty. Lord knows I do.